Welcome, everyone, to Rutgers at the Voice of College Football for a special edition discussing Rutgers Pro Day today. I'm here with my fantastic co-hosts, Gabriel Pickup and Donovan Gibbs. And we're going to talk about how Rutgers players did today, what it means for the NFL draft, and the player who jumped so high that he hasn't come down yet. Gabe, why don't you start us off on your thoughts, then we'll go to Donovan.
Yeah, I mean, I got a list of players here. Honestly, we had it looks like 14 guys participate, and I have 8 of them. Yeah, I have 8 of them written down. So we're gonna go over half of these. But for starters, I'll talk about Ethan, and I got DT, Kenny Fletcher, Gus Zelinskas, Brian Felter, Eric O'Neill, Bradley Weaver, Dariel Jabome, Cam Miller, all to talk about. But for Ethan, real quick, and I'm curious about your guys' thoughts. He had no bench. Like he didn't report a measurement, not that he didn't get a rep in. 4.8640. I think I had the over-under at 4.84, so he was just about there, just a little bit over. 29.5 vertical. Unfortunately, I don't think he did himself any favors with this. He had an under-average performance in both drills, and he's just going to have to sell his throwing accuracy, but I'm pretty convinced he's not getting drafted. I am, however, convinced that he'll have a legitimate opportunity to make an opening day roster, so we'll have to hope.
I looked at for the rest of just going back to the NFL Combine, none of the QBs did any bench press, so it's starting to seem as they're starting to move that drill specifically to where it would seem fit for each position. When it comes to a quarterback, typically you're not thinking about his bench pressing numbers. For Ethan, the unfortunate thing is the biggest evaluation for him on if he was going to get drafted or not didn't get reported by On3 because we wanted to see how well he was as a thrower and see him in those certain drills that we saw during the combine that Drew Allard did, Taylor Green did, Carson Beck got booed in. We wanted to see him do those type of drills on how well he can throw the ball, what is his timing, what is his footwork, and what is his arm strength currently at this moment. Those were a lot of the questions that we had going into Pro Day. It's unfortunate we didn't get to see them answered, but we'll know the true answer by draft day or 2 days after the draft when you see a lot of it, influx of UDFAs being signed.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick citation. Yes, all of these numbers are reported by On3.
Okay, so Ethan threw today, but we have no reports on how it went.
Not currently. I didn't even see anything on Rutgers. Rutgers' social media pages, they primarily posted DT Sheffield's 42-inch vert jump, which is very impressive for somebody that's at the height of 5'7".
Yeah.
And then Bradley Weaver's 31 reps on bench. That's the only 2 things that they posted.
Yeah. Also, inclement weather in the New Jersey area until 11 o'clock, so stay inside, folks. Meteorologist Gabe on the case. I don't think that Ethan did himself any favors at all today. I don't think he had like the worst performance in the world, but it just wasn't up to par with what he needed to do to consider getting drafted, because the fact that he didn't get invited to the combine, which I still think he should have, it means that he had to do well in these drills for the scouts to open eyes and say, hey, this quarterback from Rutgers could be beneficial, not just on our team, but with a draft pick.
Well, one thing you can say is he ran a 4.8640, and he had a vertical jump, 29.5 inches, which is, I think, reasonable for a quarterback. My question is, how much do these stats really matter for quarterbacks? I think that what they're going to be looking at is his accuracy, his arm strength, his ability to put the ball in tight windows. We just don't have any information about that. But one thing that I'm not sure if it was Coach Schiano or another reporter who said this, that they envision him as a potential practice squad member and undrafted free agent. I tend to think that's where it's going to go right now. But I'll tell you, there's some good news. There's the player who jumped so high that he has not hit the ground yet. DT Sheffield not only did a 42-inch vertical jump.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's just elite. I've actually not heard of a player jumping 42 inches.
He would be top 4 in the NFL Combine with that. He would be tied with Jeff Caldwell, Kendrick Law of Kentucky, and 0.5 behind Deion Burks of Oklahoma. And Deion Burks had a 4.3 40.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
He would be top 5 in vert jump just off of that, which was very impressive.
You know, and Gabe, when we were talking last night, you were mentioning DT, and I said, look, he'll get interest if he runs a 4.4. And what does he do? He runs a 4.41 with a vertical jump of 42 inches. I think DT Sheffield did so much benefit for himself today, possibly the one player that has now catapulted himself into a legitimate discussion to be an NFL draft pick. So congratulations to DT Sheffield, who came on this show several months ago. And it's always great to see him doing well, and we wish him the best, and he did good by himself today.
I still can't believe that it was controversial that I said that he was the most athletic receiver we had last year. I mean, on TikTok, people were trying to argue that he wasn't. I'm like, how is he not? He's the quickest. He can jump the highest. He's the shiftiest. Like, I didn't say he was the best out of the bunch, but athletically, he is the most gifted. That is pretty much a fact. But yeah, he had a great pro day today. People are going to be concerned about his height, 5'7.2", 175 pounds. So he carries himself well. 15.
That's the only thing that you can say about Sheffield outside of his numbers this season is the fact that he's 5'7", 175. He's very small for the NFL. If you're going to be a small, like a shorter player, you got to be a little bit more bulkier.
Excuse me. As someone who is 5'7" and 7/8, I take offense to all of this discrimination based on height. However, I will say this:
5'8", that's crazy.
I will say this. Back when I was at USC, we played Oregon State, and Oregon State scored a historic upset over us at USC. They had a running back called Jaquez Rogers. He was about 5'6". The problem was, not only was he a good running back, but USC linebackers couldn't find him.
I remember.
Yeah, so I think there's some benefit to being a little smaller, especially when you have that kind of speed. I wouldn't, with that vertical jump and that speed, I wouldn't count him out. I see him now as a late round draft pick going to the Cincinnati Bengals.
He can get low balls, but I don't think he can get high balls because the difference is running backs are handed the ball. Wide receivers have to go get it.
Not if he's.
Well, if you have a 42-inch vertical, you can jump on anybody.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, there was a plane flying
over.
He was next to it when I last checked. That's how high he was.
I don't think DT Sheffield was the only player that boosted his stock. I think Eric O'Neal had a decent pro day. 4.840 would have him. He was in the top 15 for edge rushers. He had a surprisingly low broad jump, which is a shock to me because I've seen him do the broad jump before during his time at LIU, and he hit 10 inches before. So him having a 9.9 there was shocking. He would be on the bottom half of edge rushers that did it at the combine, but he had a good shuttle, a good 20-yard shuttle, 4.23, one of the highest for Rutgers on the day. And that's impressive because when it comes to the shuttle, that means how well are you at changing directions, which is very important as a D lineman, especially as an edge rusher. Got to be able to read down the line and then bounce out if a QB keeps the ball. So he showed that he could do that. With a 4.23 shuttle, he would rank. He would be honest. Yeah, he would be the highest. There's only one person that did the shuttle this year. It would be Trey Moore out of Texas. He would be 2.2 seconds faster than Trey Moore. So
who I think
kudos to that.
You know who I think did really well today? I mean, it's not that much of a surprise, but Bradley Weaver had a really good day. I think he elevated his chances to get drafted. He probably won't, but it's not impossible. At 6'3", 267, he had a 4.85 40, which is on par with Ethan, a 30-inch vertical, and he had a team-high 31 reps on the bench. Benches are 225 for these, so that is what? That's 2 plates on each side, I think. And
Yeah,
so
2 plates, 31 times. Was he was blowing fast the first 25. He didn't get until like rep 27. You started to see him slow down, which is really good.
Yeah, and by the way, like I've been going to the gym for like 2 years now. I'm at a plate and a 2.5 on each side, and I do 8 reps of that. He did 2 plates for 31 reps.
After 2 years at the gym, you're only on a plate and a half.
I know, how ridiculous of me.
You must be from Pennsylvania.
I'm not.
I can
so
do.
You must be wrong. So
the
you
most
must
you getting out of me is 3
Nobody in New
plates
Jersey
and
can do that.
225s.
3 plates and what?
225s on each side.
I mean,
225 pound plates. So it's
that's what they're doing
375.
at the combine. So
Well,
Weaver actually, with
Go ahead.
31 reps, he would be top 3 in bench for D tackles.
yeah, he had a really good day. To be
and
that
let me tell you
strong.
something else about this Weaver guy.
Are you going to bring up Ohio State?
I'm not going to bring up Ohio State. Actually, now that you brought it up, Weaver, what are you doing? It's 14-9, I think, in with 2 minutes left, and you decide to have a late hit on Julian Sand. You should be ashamed. But anyway, we forgive him for that. I'm going to tell you, when I was watching him do those 31 reps, I think if the guy who was spotting him was a little bit more motivating, he could have probably pushed out 35.
There was a lot of motivation in that room. They were getting hype with him as much as they could.
I would have said, this is
too
your chance
loud.
to the NFL right now. Push out 4 more. I mean, you ever see that movie with Robert De Niro and Cuba Gooding Jr. when he has that really heavy suit on and he walks those 12 steps?
Iron Man?
Weaver walked 11 today. He could have done more, but still unbelievable. We're not talking about a surprise today. I thought at the combine, not at the pro day, a 4.48 40 and a 40.5-inch vertical.
Yeah.
Cam Miller.
5 reps. You know, I was going to clown on him for 5 reps until I realized it was 225, which for a corner, that is still, I mean, that's impressive for any human being to do. But a man at his size, I'm not going to put that too much past him.
5 reps is an utter disgrace. And
I'm not surprised about it because seeing Cam Miller tackle this season, where we know that he's more of a cover guy.
Yeah.
So he can run. He can run with you.
I did call him Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner can't tackle.
He's a guy that can run with you, and he showed that with his speed and his good 4.48, good vertical as well at 40 inches, 10.8 broad jump as well. So he showed a lot of explosiveness to scouts. And I would just love to be a fly on the wall during this pro day to see how they did during the individual drills, especially for Miller, where you got to see him do the back pedals and shift his hips, because that's something that a lot of coaches in the NFL want to see as well.
Yeah, I believe it was the great Shakira who said that her hips don't lie. Well, neither would Cam Miller's if they were staying with their man.
That is so like 2001.
That's so 2001. Let me have this, man. You know what? I want to give one more guy his props, and it is a guy that Jason has here in his comment. Kenny Fletcher had a solid day. And by the way, I've been saying since the season ended that Kenny Fletcher didn't have the best season statistically, but to me, it doesn't matter because the system at Rutgers has never been favorable for tight ends, and he measures up well. He has good intangibles, 6'3", 0.7, 250. He had a 20 on the bench. 4.6 40, which could be better, could be worse. 34.5 vert. I think he could sneak onto a roster if he gets his strength up.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I think this was a great day for Kenny Fletcher, and Coach Schiano in his press conference alluded to that. So I think that you're 100% right on that.
Yeah, I wish Gus.
Yeah, I like the day for Fletcher.
What's that?
4.6 40 would have him tied alongside John Michael Gillenborg of Wyoming in the top 7 for tight ends at the combine. Kenyon Siddique's 4.3 being at the top, and then
Of course,
2 players ran a 4.5, Stowers and RJ Maryland. But he had a good. He's faster than Justin Jolly, who was a guy that was projected to be a day 2, day 3 guy. So he has a faster 40 than Marlon Klein. Quavis out of Alabama, he's faster than.
Wow.
Will Merrick from Ohio State.
I don't think he's going to get his chance like this year, but I do think that if he thugs it out in the CFL or the UFL, he will get a chance.
Yeah, and I don't mean to digress here, but Jason O has to make a comment where he attacks my alma mater, Bergen Catholic. I graduated from Bergen Catholic in 1993. Actually, who did I play baseball with for 2 years there? Mark DeRosa, who is now coaching. Well, we'll leave that there.
Team USA?
Yes.
Hey, wait, did Italy, Mexico play yet?
Yes. What?
They're currently playing right now. An update to any of the lovely listeners out there watching us. Instead of watching that game, it's 0-0 at the bottom of the first. Mexico, Jared Duran at bat.
We need Italy to win.
Yes, I'm Italian.
Italy to win or Mexico to win and not score more than 4 runs.
I don't think the latter happens. Mexico's offense is too good. Anyway,
I'm Italian, by the way. I'm Italian, and my country represented me very well last
guys, did you know Adam's Italian? Adam Lamparello, the Italian. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, not only is it crazy, but it's appropriate too. Because Italians, not only can we cook, but all the women love us.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew Italy
the safety word
known in baseball. I didn't know that was a popular sport out there. I thought it was primarily just soccer.
I didn't either. I didn't know Italy even had a team.
No, soccer, basketball.
Yeah, they're definitely on the ups in basketball. But all right, listen, I know we're having fun here talking Italy, Mexico. I'm just going to say we might have to throw in some guys that were a little disappointing into the mix, right? Because we can't just be glorifying everyone. There were a couple people that didn't have the best days. I said Ethan wasn't necessarily the best. I thought Brian Felter had a solid bench, but a 5.340 is absurd.
Yeah, that's not great. Pretty good vertical though. I mean, for 303 pounds, a 29.5-inch vertical.
Oh yeah.
For 303 running a 5.3, that's not good. You could if he had more of like a 5.1, because he's lower 300s. If he was around like Markel Bell's weight of being north of just 350, it would be impressive. But he could have knocked down around 5'1", 5'2". But I just also want to say, how did y'all feel about not only Gus Solinkas sitting out for his pro day, but also Jet Eli sitting out? They only putting in their measurements.
Yeah. Adam, you want to go first? I know you have a lot to say, probably.
Not really. My thought is, when you're kind of on the bubble or you're on the cusp between maybe getting drafted, maybe being a UDFA, you take every opportunity you can to try to increase your value. And the fact that they didn't do that suggests to me either that they may be injured or that we're not prepared.
You know what I'm wondering? Any chance they already talked to some teams and teams said, we'll take you if you're in the 7th round? I doubt it. And even then, don't you want to shoot for the 5th?
That's the thing. Their agents tell them to sit out, but typically agents don't tell their players to sit out of pro days. If anything, they tell you to set out the combine and do everything at your pro day, give you a little bit more time if you don't feel ready enough. But Elon nor Solinkas got invited to the combine. And did Eli got invited to one of the bowl games, if I'm correct. I think he got invited to the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah. And I think Jet Eli got I thought it was the Hula Bowl maybe, but I might be wrong.
Hula Bowl. All right. He got invited to the Hula Bowl. I don't know if he thinks he feels confident based off of that to set out a pro day, but he has honestly no reason to sit out. This might be, once again, like Adam said, this might be your last chance of showing scouts and especially any other pro personnel, because if you read the On3 article, they're saying that there was 46 members of the NFL and the CFL in attendance. This is your last chance to potentially get your name out there and show people what you're able to provide to the NFL. This is the equivalent of a job interview, like Francisco Mendoza said during his interview at the Combine, the biggest interview of your life. And he basically just said, I'll pull up and just leave. I completely don't understand why he would sit out, especially when Eli, to be completely honest, didn't have that good of a season. Especially a lot of his tape most likely is going to be everything up to Iowa, because everything Iowa passed, he did not have a really good season against the Big Ten, and that's something that you could potentially sweep under the rug if you have a good pro day. Because people will say you can't teach some sort of athleticism, especially at that safety position where we're seeing right now in the NFL, teams wanting to have more safeties because they're big enough to defend the run while being fast enough to defend receivers.
I think it was. My guess would be is that they weren't 100%, maybe some type of injury. But I also have a problem.
Yeah, it says here. It says here on 3 Down Nation that Elad was out with injury.
Okay. So what is with this? You said the CFL scouts were there. Yeah, the CFL scouts should have been banned. I have a problem with these Canadians, and I'll tell you why. First of all, they can't win a hockey. They can't win a hockey game to save their lives. All right, they go to the Olympics and they blow it. And number two, everyone says how nice the Canadians are, but the second you disagree with them, they lash out at you. Give me a break. I just want NFL scouts there. CFL, we'll go there if we don't get drafted.
I'm surprised there was no XFL guys there.
They're still in XFL?
No, it's UFL.
UFL.
Remember the UFL?
There's no UFL guys there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about a Zielinskis injury, but it does say that Jet Elad was injured. So, I don't know how injured.
If he was injured, then that makes sense. Because at first, there's just no reason not to sit out. There's no reason to sit out.
Yeah. I think it hurts. It hurts your chances, even if it's not right. Like even if you didn't do anything wrong, it does hurt your chances if you're injured for it.
Well, he transferred from UNLV, right?
Yeah,
I know what happened. He went back to Vegas, hurt his hand on the roulette wheel. That's what happened to him.
I think maybe that would be a hurt ego over a hurt hand. You know who I want to talk about? Last guy I want to talk about is Daryl Jabome. He had a 23 rep bench. 4.78, so that's kind of slow for linebackers, is it not? And 32-inch vert.
Yeah, no, very slow for the linebackers based on what we saw from the linebackers at the Combine.
Yeah, that's
very slow.
That might be the reason why he was ranked 600th or something.
Yeah, he would be last from the Combine at a 4.78, so behind the likes of Xavier Sorey Jr. of Arkansas, who ran a 4.63, and Owen Heineke, who ran a 4.62.
So he would have been last by 0.15.
For the vert jump at 32 inches, he would be last as well behind Owen Heineke. Broad jump at 10 feet, he would be on the bottom half, tied alongside Xavier Sorey Jr. So he's going to be a guy that's going to have to bank on his tape to get him signed. And for Jabome, he did have a good year, I would say, at that linebacking spot for Rutgers.
You don't think that part of the reason we got the ball ran down our throat is maybe he just wasn't quick and shifty enough?
Yeah, primarily because especially if you're dealing with a front four that would get beat off the ball, because the thing is with Bradley Weaver, especially during those games against Ohio State and Oregon, and for some cases Iowa, him being skinny at 267 hurt him. Yes, he's lengthy and he's able to be strong, but he doesn't have that weight on him to hold him down to not get blown off, not get moved off the ball.
Yeah,
because the offensive lineman that he's facing on that interior is north of at least 290, especially in the Big Ten.
And in the NFL, lower 300.
In the NFL, north of 300.
Yeah.
We just saw a couple of days ago, Tyler Linderbaum, who was a guy that's 310, being able to move. That's something that he would go up against similarly. guy around 6'2" to potentially 6'5", 310 plus.
Not a great day yesterday for fans in the greater DMC area or DMV area. Between the Max Crosby trade and, Bam Adebayo. Does that ring a bell? But anyways.
What do you guys think about Colin Weber? 6'3", 264, ran 4.89, 29.5-inch vert.
Doesn't have the intangibles. Maybe, he's talented, but it wasn't a good day, I don't think.
Okay, fair enough.
What do you think?
What about Jordan Thompson? 6'1", 284. Oh, 281. He only ran a 5?
Yeah, that's not good.
Lord.
Position-wise, it's not terrible, but for his measurements, it's bad.
Right.
Yeah, that's because a lot of these guys did you see Olivier Billouette on the field much last season?
No, not at all.
No.
So that's why it's some of these guys, I don't think they really had time to show off their skills on the field.
Yeah, Timmy Ward, he didn't get much PT, did he?
Yeah, and when I listened to Coach Schiano's press conference, I really didn't get anything from it. I was like, more coach speak. So I don't think it was a bad day for the players. I think, though, that 2 or 3 really stuck out. And I think DT Sheffield, number 1. And then after that, it seems like Bradley Weaver had a very good day. And I don't know about Eric O'Neal. I think the jury's out on Eric O'Neal. What do you guys think?
For getting drafted, I would think so.
For getting drafted, yeah. I think the guys that had a good day were Sheffield. I'm going to place Ethan in this category, just depending on how well he did during the throwing. But having a decent 40 at a 4.8 and having a 4.20 shuttle as well is good, especially for a guy whose question was how much athleticism did he bring to the table. 4.2 shuttle definitely silences some of those questions. I would say DT Sheffield as well. And then I would say 3 especially on the defensive side, because outside of him, nobody else really had a great day and had no reason to really be there to impress any scouts. Cam Miller.
Yeah.
He's at 185. You can see him potentially bulking up 10 pounds in the NFL, so he'll be able to have that size to match up against physical wide receivers as a corner, and he has the speed to run with the best of them.
Yeah, I think the only guys that get drafted out of the bunch, I no longer think Ethan really has a good chance of getting drafted. I think DT and Gus Zilinskas are the only 2 that have a legitimate shot at this point, and everyone else that can make a roster. I obviously think Ethan can make a roster. I think Fletcher can make a roster. I think Weaver can. I think O'Neal can. And I think that Kenny Fletcher could.
All right. So over under number of Rutgers players getting drafted, 1.
Dead 1.
I will say I would take I'll take the under. I think the only person that might get drafted out of this group is Cam Miller.
I'm saying
because we see teams go after corners, especially when they don't really have that many spots to fill. That's one of the more picks that you can use on a position when you have everything else situated, because you can never have enough corners on a team just due to how much passing there is in the NFL. You always want to have good depth in that, and Cam Miller could be a guy that could be on somebody's roster either as a special teamer or in that potential CP or nickel type of guy, nickel type of corner position.
I'm saying flat. It's gonna be. I just don't know do I give DT. I don't think because of his height I can put him in there, even though I want to, and he passed all the tests today.
That's the unfortunate thing about it, which breaks my heart as well.
Yeah.
Let's hear me out. Let's say DT Sheffield was measured at 5'9" on the dot. Do you still think that there's a chance of him getting picked up by a team?
5'9", and he measures those measurements, he gets drafted.
And he still has those same numbers during his pro day.
He gets drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah,
But I think I only give it to Gus. I think he gets drafted in the 7th round. So I'm sticking with the flat at 1.
I'm not as concerned about height. If he runs the right routes, I'm not so sure that it matters. Does it really?
How many 5'7" guys do you really see in the NFL?
There's only like 2 or 3.
Dave Meggett?
There's only like 2 or 3, and they're not Pro Bowlers or anything like that.
That 4.41 is very attractive, though, and that 42-inch vertical, man.
4.41 is faster than average.
If you're 5'7", I hope you would run a 4.4. And to be completely honest, I'm not putting that much height under 4.4s anymore because I done seen an edge rusher run a 4.4. I've seen multiple edge rushers run 4.4s. So that's not really like an eye-popping number, especially for a guy that's already undersized. Right now, current NFL players are listed at 5'7". Blake Grupe, Devin Singletary, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he's a free agent. Devontae Turpin. Okay. Turpin is a good inspiration for DT to see if he can make it.
Very similar.
He kind of plays similar. They're both really fast, but they're really known for being special team guys.
Yeah, I can see Turpin.
Could you see DT being that type of returner though? Because we haven't really seen him return kicks or anything of that nature during his time at Rutgers.
How tall was Reggie Bush?
Well, that was like 20 years ago.
Reggie was 5'9".
I don't know why I'm not as concerned about the height. I think those small guys, if they run the right routes, can be a problem for defense.
Sure.
But wrong.
Some people, at least for the NFL right now, they're getting to a point where a lot of teams have enough small guys already. So they're looking for bigger wide receivers. There's already an influx of small guys, and a lot of these small guys are already getting paid doing the exact same thing. A lot of them are built to be in the slot. There's not a lot of outside receivers that we're seeing right now. But more, I'll give you, for example, Jackson Smith-Njigba. We're not seeing a lot of Njigbas currently coming in until this year's draft, where we're seeing an influx of guys that are 6'2" and above.
Yeah, and maybe one from Rutgers next year at 6'6".
Okay.
Duff is. Oh, I can't wait for next year around this time.
KJ Duff, day 1 selection. Just saying.
He most likely, at most, I could see him being put in a Denzel Boston situation where he's a day 2. There's no way he goes past the 2nd round.
No,
because I think he's fat. He's fast for someone that's 6'6" too. He's fast.
Totally agree with you.
So I think, especially for next year, I think Rutgers is banking on the fact that we might not have a lot of guys this year that get onto rosters, but their recruiting pitch for teams, especially for young players or for transfers for next year, is that we got a receiver right now who's potentially going to be either a day 1 or a day 2 selection. We're most likely going to have a couple of linemen as well. And Taylor Needham, he's going to be a guy that most likely gets invited to the combine next year as a tackle. And then on the defensive side, you just got your transfers right now. The one from Rice as well, Morris. You got him. He's most likely going to be a guy that gets invited to the combine as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, I can see Dawood getting invited if he has the type of year I'm expecting him to have. Even if he's listed as a 2nd stringer.
Let Dawood get if he's able this season to get 4 interceptions, he's going to the combine. He's going to the combine.
I think the magic number is 3 with a bunch of pass deflections.
I think it's 4, and he needs to have at least 30 pass breakups.
30
over the season? Yeah, he's going to get targeted.
You mean okay? I get what you mean. Yeah,
30 pass breakups during the year. Yeah.
All right. Well, Zamir, live up to it. We believe you can.
Over under total wins next year 6.
Man, this is the combine, the pro day show.
It all blends together.
I'm gonna say the number is 7, so over.
I'll take the over as well. I can see 8. I think this team has way better additions from the transfer portal this year than last year, and the switch up in coaching could help that out as well.
Okay.
Yeah, defense can't get any worse.
Hold on, which is a better comp for DT Sheffield, Devontae Turpin or Greg Dortch?
They're both solid. I like Turpin just a little more, but Dortch is a good pull too. Honestly, rest in peace, man. But I think
Rondale?
Yeah, Rondale Moore is a good comparison for him too.
I could see that. I could see that. It's just it's gonna depend on what team wants to use him in their system, because he can work in as a slot guy. He's gonna be a slot guy in the NFL. That's really going to be his bread and butter, because he's strong over the field, over the middle of the field, and he can take the top off the defense.
Yeah, for sure. And Coach Ed, welcome to the comment section. Unfortunately, we are probably wrapping up here shortly, but every Monday too, you can catch us. And for on-the-fly episodes such as this one, because we had the pro day today, and we had some mixed results. We talked about the good and the bad, and right now we just kind of finished delving into who we think could get drafted / make the league, and we're talking about our good guy DT Sheffield, friend of the program.
Also, I gotta ask y'all before we even think about wrapping up. Rutgers released the notice that they're not going to do a spring game.
I think it's like two sides of the coin. You can see why it happens, and you can see why you would want to play regardless. But we did lose 2 wide receivers last year for the season during that game, and Ethan caught some unnecessary heat from Adam about not playing in it until his brother let us know in the comments that it wasn't his decision.
Well, of course, Ethan's not going to play in it because he's already known that he's going to be day one. When this is the year when they actually needed to do it. And here's I would say, compromise or my suggestion for future pro days, because I can see this, not pro days for spring games. I can see the rest of the NCAA doing this as well. They don't got to be full padded anymore. I can truly just believe having them wear spiders and shorts and run certain drills to show off what they're able to show off to the fans, what this team is capable of in the upcoming months going into next season. And you could do it as one-on-ones against O-line, D-line with spiders.
Hey,
7 drills, and you could potentially do inside run periods.
Hey, our starting defense last year in the spring game got torched by the second stringers, and that's when we knew that it could be a problem.
Yeah, because the spring game answers those questions. Is your first look at a team so far through the first 2 months of this team being together, because a lot of these players come together in January, they do winter workouts, then do spring break, then they come back to do spring ball. So you're actually seeing them for the first time running this Rutgers offense, and we needed to see that, because right now there's a question of, is it Lonergan or is it AJ Surace? And this would be the best opportunity to get at least one part of that question answered, at least for right now.
It seems like most outsiders think Lonergan is the guy, but a lot of Rutgers Nation loves AJ Surace, man. Like, they want to see the kid start.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a legitimate competition. I just don't know why he would transfer unless he had some indication that he was going to be the guy.
I think he had the indication that he was going to get a legitimate shot.
I think it's going to be that, and plus he has better weapons at Rutgers than he would have at Boston College.
Though the ACC is a Power 4 conference, the Big Ten does have superior competition.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just there's way better talent in the Big Ten. Way better talent.
Way better talent. And though Rutgers is not great in the Big Ten, they're not the Boston College of the Big Ten.
Yeah, but that would be Purdue.
Purdue, yeah.
No offense to my people that play at Purdue. I love y'all.
Northwestern before last year, because they did have a solid year last year. Michigan State recently.
Wait, you know what? Nah, Michigan State is more of a Boston College of the Big Ten than Purdue is.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting year, but I would give the nod probably to Lonergan at this point. I just don't see him transferring unless they gave an indication that he had an edge for the starting job. Plus, I mean, he is a 4-star coming out of, and he was highly regarded at Alabama. But we could be wrong. Bottom line is best QB is going to play, and whoever that is, they'll be supported and do well.
I'll tell you what. I have a bet for you, Adam. Are you a gambling man?
I've been known to gamble from time to time.
It's not financial, but
he stayed in LA. He's used to taking risks.
True. I think that AJ is going to start, and for the first show after we find out who starts, whoever is wrong has to meow at the end of every sentence.
No, this is not an appropriate bet. So what's going to happen with this bet is whoever loses has to get a tattoo on their forearm with the numbers 666, and it has to be wide.
Are you kidding me? I rebuke.
I was gonna say the loser has to get a jersey of the starting QB.
No, you know what? I'll bet you a perfect Italian pizza.
Perfect. All right. Shake.
Okay, I'm excited to see who it is. And the thing is, I forgot to also mention in regards to this. This doesn't, due to there's no spring game, we don't get to see how well D. Collier is doing, and as well as Dijer is doing on the offensive side as well, because he came in during January.
They're probably our two biggest prospects right now.
That's what the spring game's all about too. You get an inside look at those guys and how well they've developed, because we know if Collier wants to have his time on playing this year because he's behind a couple of veterans, I genuinely believe that he's better than some of those guys, but due to those guys being at the program longer, they're going to have more trust inside of the system to start. Collier needed something in the spring game. I'm just hoping he balls out during the spring practices because you get 21 of them. I hope he takes every single one personal, because if he's as good as we all think he is, there's a chance that this dude, as a sophomore or as a redshirt freshman, should be able to get a decent amount of playing time next year.
Yeah. I got one last question for y'all. Last year, assuming everything stays the same this year, of course, last year we had 2 captains on the offense, 2 captains on the defense. Who do you guys think would be those 2 on offense, 2 on defense this next year?
Duff Raymond, defense, Morris, and I would say, I'm thinking either Davis or Dawood.
Davis. You know what I'm thinking?
Dawood was a captain at Villanova.
Yeah, you know, that's it. I mean, listen, he's not projected to start currently, but I think he will earn a starting job. If not by opening day, then certainly by conference play. But my 2 captains aren't going to be either Duff or Raymond for offense. It's going to be 2 guys in the front. It's going to be Kwabena Asamoah and the other Zelinskas. Hank.
Oh, Hank.
Okay, it's gonna be Kwabena and Hank. And on defense, it's gonna be Kaj Sanders, because he's the GOAT. He's coming back. And he needs to step up. He knows it. And I'm gonna say I was torn between Rondo Porter and Zamir, but I'm gonna co-sign with Zamir being the second.
I'm going to co-sign with you with Kaj Sanders. I think it's going to be Sanders and Morris, because Morris is the strongest out of that entire linebacking room, and he's most likely going to be that bet bigger.
Jay Patel could be a captain, man.
No.
Special teams, he's going to be a special team captain regardless.
Adam's going to have a coronary.
Yeah, I'm 50 years old, and you say Jay Patel, and my blood pressure goes up.
Technically the GOAT of Rutgers kickers, by the way.
He's not the GOAT of Rutgers kickers. He had a confidence problem this year. He couldn't kick the ball.
Who are your captains, Adam?
I can't say at this point. I'm just not sure. On the defensive side, I haven't the slightest idea, because I don't know who's going to emerge as a leader there. I think on the offensive side, KJ Duff will definitely be a captain. I don't know who the second person will be.
I'm just saying KJ might not be only because he's going to be a junior, but like, all right, let me ask you this for defense. You don't know who the captains are going to be,
No.
but who are, if not captains, the two biggest X factors that need to step up?
The Villanova
Obviously,
transfer.
Dawood.
Yeah.
And I honestly can't tell you, after seeing the performance this year with transfers that were coming in from James Madison, Penn State, UNLV, I'm just not sure who I could project is going to either be a leader or be an impact player at this point.
Well, listen, Rondo Porter, I think, will be a huge impact player.
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think he'll be a huge impact player, no pun intended. And I'm not saying this as a knock to the kid. I just don't know enough about his leadership skills to say whether or not he could be captain.
Also, he's transferring, right?
Yeah, Zamir is too, but we at least know he was.
He's
captain.
most likely.
Yeah,
I think Porter isn't if of the D line. Maybe I think that's going to be more Malachi Davis, but primarily the defense is going to be ran through Morris and Sanders, especially on the back end. I think Dawood potentially throughout the season he's going to either day one he's a captain or so there might be a change at captain during the season.
Yeah, it's possible.
But right now, when you look at this entire defense as it is, you would say Sanders as a guy that's returning.
Right.
I wanted to mention, I think this might be a year where Chris Joins is able to make his mark. He was really good during his time at his first 2 years there. He had an interception as well against Auburn of
good team to pick off
of the FCS playoffs against State. He didn't play as much last year. He was more of a special team guy. I primarily know Chris during his time at Myrtle Beach Prep. I was just there, so I've seen him play. He's grown as a player. So him right now, as you look at our lads, he's projected to be in that starting box safety spot. Or that free safety spot. So I could see him being really good in coverage.
He was here last year too, right? Just wasn't on the starters.
But right now, he was a special teamer. He was more of a special teamer last year. This year, there's a chance for him to really be able to have that same amount of playing time and freedom to roam around in the secondary that he had during his time at Mercer.
Well, Adam, you're going to hate me for this pun, but as Chris joins the starting lineup, he might joins the captain honors.
I'll tell you who should be captain, and this is what Rutgers should do. They should be a little bit original for a change. I would have Ian Strong be captain of the offense, and I would let Ian Strong go to Cal and sit there in Berkeley and every game know that he's the captain of a team that he abandoned. And I would have a big size picture of Ian Strong, and he would be the honorary captain along with KJ Duff. And before every game, there would be a little phrase under Ian Strong that says, we stayed, he left. And I think it would be a motivational factor.
That sounds like a Pretty Little Liars skit.
Yeah, right. I think it's going to come down to the defensive coordinator and the scheme. Can the players, number one, we got some transfers, can they play cohesively as a unit, as a team? And number two, can they be disciplined enough and master the scheme so that they can be effective? I do think that there was confusion over the scheme, and that's why we had a lot of busted coverages this year. So I think those are going to be important factors.
Look, let me just say, I think
that's what the spring game really determines. True. And you're able to get a good first look at that. That's why I hope potentially they bring it back next year, because I think the injuries was primarily them being in fully padded. I think if you're able to just do it in spiders or less amount of padding and just run certain drills, it'll give everybody a good look of what's going on. Because at least in that, you're just seeing technique at play.
Yes. Let me say real quick, I think that last year, the problem with the defense was we had good players, but no gelling, not a good staff. This year, I think we don't have the better players than last year, but I do think that it will gel as a unit better because we have a little bit more nepotism, which can kind of be a good thing in this case because that North Dakota State, that Drake influence, even though those aren't the schools that Rutgers is or our competition for most of the year is, what it does do is have familiarity come and be on a lesser role, but probably a bigger impact. And these are players that led their teams. These are players that come from schools where they were the guy, much like most of the team was the guy in high school. These guys were still the guy in college. So I think that this year we're going to have a better unit in terms of gelling, playing off of each other, understanding schemes, and I think we certainly have a better defensive staff.
Fair enough.
I think this staff mixes well with the scheme that's currently at play, and we got the right players to fit into that scheme. A lot of these guys work in that 4-2 structure, and due to that, it's going to come down to if this year we got guys that can rush with 4. Because last year they couldn't really get as much of a pass rush, only sending 4 guys, and that's why Rutgers for most of the year was an aggressive team. And that aggression did bite them sometimes during the season and led to some unfortunate losses. This time around, we know Schiano likes to not be as aggressive. He wants to play a little bit of conservative on the defensive side. And we got guys right now that could potentially send 4 and let Rutgers live in zone.
Yeah,
because their scheme, especially during what the safeties coach, who was the former defensive coordinator at Drake, and our new defensive coordinator, who was formerly at South Dakota, I think they primarily zone defenses. So this gives them a chance to have way more faster guys and be able to implement this defensive strategy early in the year so it can make an impact going into next season. Because right now, I think for a lot of people, not only just on the coaching staff, but also in more higher up positions, they are looking to see some sort of next step in production in terms of wins and in terms of, I would say, bowl wins as well. That if another setback season happens, there's going to potentially be some firings. I truly believe that they're going to try to, if this can't work, we're going to have to make more changes than we did last season.
Thank you, Jason, for reminding me about the interior defensive line, because I'm changing my captain pick from Kaj Sanders and Zamir Dawood to Kaj Sanders and Doug Blue Eli. I think that this year he will, it's easy to forget because he unfortunately didn't play last year. And, CJ Campbell transferred to Duke. But he's still here. Doug Blue Eli is still here. And I think he's going to get that second captain nod. But I think that I 100% agree. Unfortunately, we don't have on paper the same depth on defense we had last year. But what we lack in depth, we still have a good top-heavy team on defense. So I just pray that maybe for the first time in 3 or 4 years, we can have a semi-healthy defensive front 4.
I hope so, too, because we've been prone to injuries every year. Some people say it's because Schiano works them to death in practice. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it's definitely hurt us. He
definitely seems like a drill baby drill kind of coach.
Yeah, I could see that. And Jason was right. The linebackers have to step up. Not effective last year.
Well, we didn't really have an outside offensive linebacker, right? It was just because we ran the 4-2-5. It was we just had 2 more guys staying back a little bit.
That's true.
Mike and Will, and then you typically had a guy come in as a nickel. You were running a lot of nickel packages. And that was basically your third linebacker.
And the passing defense,
I think Jet Elod was during most of the year.
Yeah. And the pass defense wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, but it was probably sort of middle pack, lower mid. It was the rush defense against running backs, but primarily against freaking quarterbacks. We just could not stop a scrambling quarterback if our life depended on it.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. And there were games we should have won. We should have beat Minnesota. We were up on Washington.
We should have beat Iowa. I don't care if Iowa was better. We should have beat them. We did everything right. Same with Penn State.
Yeah, the Iowa game was Iowa and the Penn State game was just Rutgers shooting themselves in the foot. And
Could you imagine if we were sitting here,
guys that have more experience?
I mean, when you say that,
Say that again, Gabe.
I was just gonna say, could you imagine if we were sitting here at the end of the year saying that we beat Iowa, we beat Penn State, and we won a bowl game?
I know.
That would we would have gotten 2 or 3 4-stars flip. We would have gotten 2 or 3 Big Ten players flip. But anyways, I'm happy with the team that we got given the options we had. I'm just saying, damn man, we were so close to being like taking that Vanderbilt type of step.
We really were. And to think how close we actually were to 8 wins. I mean, we were up in the second quarter, late in the second quarter against Iowa. Just crumbled.
We were up in the fourth quarter against Iowa.
Well, we were up in the fourth quarter, I think 28 to 24 or something like that.
Yeah.
So we were close.
And Iowa scored a touchdown and then Ethan threw a pick.
That's the heartbreaking thing about
that was Ethan's first pick of the year, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. It was like so close, but yet so far away. And I think that's the frustration of being a Rutgers fan.
But we have to look ahead, right? We always have to look ahead.
We want to be positive because we're always going to be Rutgers fans. So it's always good to stay positive because, being that close means, you know what, we're going to break through.
Yeah, and a few prior circles too for some of these players because they have the talent. We just don't know if they have the physicality for the Big Ten.
Right. But we'll see. I'm interested to see Doug Blue Eli.
I think he'll be a really good run defender. That's typically how I view him, as a run defense guy. He might get 2 or 3 sacks, which ironically, I believe if he got 2.5 sacks, he would have, or if he got 3 sacks, he would have led the team in sacks anyways. But typically that's about average, maybe lower tier for a front four guy.
I'm excited to see how he's paired up with Rondo Porter because we know Rondo's going to be that one tech, so it's going to be Eli at the 3 tech.
Rondo Porter does everything well. I mean, that's my scouting report on him. He stops the run well. He attacks the quarterback well. He evades his man very well. And he can get out and run if a running back runs let's say a wide right, wide left, or a pitch. He can get out and stop the guy. I think the only thing he can't do is just, defend a wide receiver. That's about it. He's very good at what he does. To me, he is the most talented player on the defense.
That's possible. It's going to be an exciting season.
Say that. But he's one of them. I wouldn't say he's the most talented.
You got Malachi?
I think Collier has the most, out of everybody on that defense that has the highest ceiling at what they can do. I think it's Dawood, Malachi, Collier. Then I would say Bradley. I would say Bradley as well because it's just his speed.
I hope Wadi Collier really steps up.
I hope in order to step up, he needs the chances. I think he's been stepping up all off season.
Yeah.
Just have to hope. You know what I hope? I hope the man doesn't transfer.
I'm just hoping he got bigger. He got bigger and stronger. I'm hoping he got bigger and stronger.
Let me ask you, would you be mad
by next season? Hopefully, like I said before, 245.
Yeah. Would you be mad?
I would be mad if I what?
Would you be mad if let's say Collier has another season where he just doesn't play that much and he says, I need to go to a school where I'm going to play? You can't be mad at that.
No,
I'm not mad at that. You came in as a 4-star. You thought if you're going to a school like Rutgers that typically doesn't get 4 stars, and you were a top 10 player in their class, and you're already at the end of your sophomore season, and you haven't really gotten the chance to play.
I was going to say
he's going to be. He needs the opportunity to play. Pennsylvania. He obviously wants to play.
Yeah.
Well, the defensive coordinator is going to have a tough job
because at the end of the day, it makes him think more and more. Man, I was committed to a program in Penn State.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's going to have playing time, but I also think, again, it's going to be critical that
it would make him think, man, I was really committed to have this to be on the field.
Sorry, I think we having a slight technical difficulties. There we go. Oh,
that's going to play into.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, we were just having delay issues there real quick.
Well, I think it's going to come down to
you all good.
Little things, discipline and scheme, execution, and we didn't have it this year. That's going to be critical no matter who's on the field.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, finish up the Wadiq take, because you were on a roll there, Donovan. I felt bad. It's just that there was a delay between you and Adam.
Yeah, Donovan, you were putting together a
I said for Collier, if he leaves after his sophomore season and he hasn't had a chance to play, I completely understand it, because you were a top 10 player in their recruiting class as a 4-star, and you were originally supposed to go to Happy Valley and start your career off there in August. You decided to go to Rutgers because you think you're going to play more. Rutgers definitely their pitch was definitely that if you go here, you're going to be able to play by your redshirt freshman year. We just need to get you built for college football and get you at that size to perform at your best. While at Penn State, you're going to be behind a couple of guys. You're going to be kind of similar to what we've seen just in the combine. Zane Durant, a guy that sat behind Micah Parsons, and a guy that sat behind Bryce Dennis Sonnen. Players like that had to wait their turn. Did you want to wait your turn, or do you want to already start off being on the field? Deke thought he was going to be able to start off and be on the field. He didn't play as much last year. He had some opportunities to play, but he was still primarily a red shirt. So now this is your red shirt freshman year. You already have a year into the system. You know what the defense is. You've gotten bigger. You still have that speed. You fine-tuned your skills. If you're not playing now, are you really going to play in this defense? And that's why I truly believe Collier has to make a big leap, because if he doesn't, he has no reason to be on this roster.
Well, I think he's going to be in the running for most improved next year, because we're going to have another superlative type of episode at the end of the year. Most improved, I'm really hoping goes to Wadiq, because that would be the most important improvement.
I agree with you.
Plus, this dude's a freak of nature, 6'7". I think when he got recruited, he was 235. Right now, I'm hoping he's around 240, 245, maybe 250 by this time the season starts. So 15 pounds over a year.
Yeah.
That does sound possible.
He's going to have to put more weight, and I think he's going to get playing time next year. I think the key, though, like I've said, when you have transfers coming in like this, can they be a cohesive unit? Can they all grasp the scheme and play as a team? And I just hope that we see an improvement on that end from last year.
Look, I don't want to instigate, but I mean, Jason, my fear is that because he reclassified, he was thinking a lot of last year, what am I doing in college if I'm not playing? I mean, it's like you send a guy down to the G League for reps in the NBA when they're not playing, and then they don't play in the G League either. And he got some PT when it didn't matter, but he didn't record any stats during his small time. I don't think he got a tackle or a sack or anything of that nature.
Right.
I will give a counter perspective to that point, because for Jason O, I understand what you're thinking there, Jason O, but primarily my opinion is him leaving for college a year earlier, he means he understood he was going to sit out a year and wait his turn to get bigger. Typically, guys leave high school a year earlier to get into college so they could get onto the field by year 2. Typically. If he's left high school at that time and he's still waiting at the end of this year, yeah, he's going to feel kind of pissed off about that, and honestly, rightfully so, if he's been putting in the work to do so.
Yeah, he's been putting in the work for sure.
Well, guys, this has been a very comprehensive discussion, both of Pro Day and of the future of Rutgers football. So Any final thoughts on either Pro Day or the trajectory of the program?
Donovan, you got it real quick.
I just wish that we were able to see more from Pro Day, but from what we've seen on the testing side of things, there was some positives. And I truly believe, I don't think this year is really the class that is going to be that class for Rutgers that gets a lot of NFL attention. I think that's primarily going to be next year's.
Yeah, I agree. And KJ Duff, you have a goal, and the goal is round 1, pick 9. That would give you the record for Rutgers history.
What a year it's going to be at SHI Stadium. Michigan's coming. Indiana's coming. USC's coming. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
And also, DT, that guy deserves to get drafted.
Yeah.
Gus Zelinskas, he deserves to get drafted. Bradley Weaver, he deserves a good hard look.
Yeah, we're rooting for all you guys. DT, great day today. Bradley Weaver, 31 reps. And Ethan, as always, we're always behind you and hope you can break through. But
100%.
So, go Scarlet Knights. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many heartbreaking losses we have.
Nope.
Rutgers is going to break through. There is no reason, like I believe Urban Meyer said, that Rutgers cannot be the next Indiana. And I'll leave you
that Toxic X. You can't get away from us.
Yes, it's like, 1 minute they tell you they love you, the next minute they're coming at you with a chainsaw. There is something romantic about that.
Oh yeah, romantic chainsaws. Go Scarlet Knights.
You go
All right, guys. We will be back here on Monday at 7 p.m. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your comments. And we'll update you as updates occur. But until next Monday at 7, go Scarlet Knights.
Indeed. You got this.